The 77 car of Mike Potter.
They're trying to get inside Rusty.
Nope.
Didn't need to do that. He figured that out too once he got into that. You know, Davey, of course, his concentration and his mind right now is on leading this race, trying to hold off Kyle Petty. Is he going to be able to do it? But also his mind has been on his grandfather this weekend. Pop Allison has been very, very sick, and our prayers and best wishes go out to he and the entire Allison family.
I forgot. Clifford told me yesterday that Pop was in the hospital in Birmingham watching this. So, Pop, our best wishes.
Here's Davey. Now he will pass Rusty Wallace and put him a lap down. And there is Brett Bodine, who continues to run in fourth. There you can see that Davey has passed Rusty. And now here comes Kyle Petty also.
And there's Harry Gant. The old third-place car. Harry has moved back in.
Rusty's off the pace.
No, I think he just, once he got a lap down, he moved over and let those guys go by because they're racing for position. And he stayed out there as long as he could, but once Davey got by, he said, hey, there's no point in me holding them up.
And, folks, Gant is running up on the racetrack in turn one, up on the wall, right up next to the wall in turns 1 and 2.
Now, that yellow car in there, of course, is Greg Sachs. We mentioned he came out of the pits after changing transmissions on the Kellogg Chevrolet a little while ago. Has fresh tires on that car, so he's up there mixing it up with.
Here's some Greg Sachs now. Watch Harry Gant as he goes down in turn 1. Sachs goes by Kyle Petty. Gant goes in the corner. See how low Kyle Petty is? Watch Harry Gant. He's one car length higher up the racetrack than than Kyle Petty.
He's taking the old Richard Petty line up there in the corner, staying as close to the wall as you can.
We can start renaming that the Harry Gant line if he keeps doing this.
Yeah, he's pretty famous for that at a lot of racetracks. He says he can conserve his tires by running up there high that way.
Well, let's go down to John Kernan for a report on Rusty Wallace.
Well, Bob, it's simply a case of using up the tires, trying to stay in front of the leaders, hoping for a caution, as Rusty Wallace was doing out there. He was driving his heart out and just used the tires up. Eddie Dickerson says, the crew chief on the car, says that it got to the point where if Rusty was going to stay in front of him and drive that hard, he'd stick it in the wall, so he just moved over and let him go by.
Smart move on Rusty's part, although it did put him a lap down. Davey Allison now has Greg Sachs between him and second place Kyle Petty. And of course, Greg fresh back out on the racetrack after mechanical repairs. And there goes Greg around our leader. Davey Allison still up front, back after these messages at Darlington, South Carolina.
They say some people have more money than they know what to do with. I don't know those people. The ones I know want good value. Now at Subway, they can turn $1.49 into a 6-inch cold cut combo. It's the kind of sandwich your mother would make if she was foolish enough to bake her own bread and spend half the day chopping fresh vegetables. She still couldn't beat our low price. If time were money, her sandwich would cost around $100.
The price of a good sandwich just got lower. $1.49 for a limited time at Subway.
It's never been un-American to buy an imported performance sedan. But now, it's unnecessary. The new Pontiac SSEI offers you handcrafted luxury, unsurpassed security, and supercharged performance at a price many thousands less than the big sedans from BMW and Lexus. The new Pontiac SSEI, a higher level of excitement.
When doctors were asked which of these two pain relief formulas they preferred,
#1,
they chose the Goodies formula by more than 3-to-1 over BC's. And when people in the South
Goodies
choose their #1 headache powder,
why, Goodies, of course.
Goodies wins again because Goodies has the formula most doctors preferred, and BC doesn't. Goodies. No wonder it's the South's #1 headache powder.
The quiet and serenity in the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania will be shattered twice this summer at Pocono Raceway as the mountains roar to life with the awesome thunder of NASCAR Winston Cup racing. On June 14th, it's the Champion Spark Plug 500. And then on July 19th, it's the Pocono Summer 500. For the best seats, order your tickets now. Call and become eligible to win a trip for two to the October Charlotte Winston Cup event. Call 1-800-RACEWAY, operator standing by. For Pocono vacation information, call 1-800-POCONO.
We're back at Darlington for the Trans-South 500 Winston Cup race, live here on ESPN. Davey Allison leads. Harry Gant has gone into second position. Kyle Petty is third, and Brett Bodine is running in fourth position. And we've had a little bit of contact, shall we say, between Kyle and Brett as they battle for that third spot.
Go down in turn one, and we see Brett trying to get under the 42 car of Kyle Petty, and he goes up and bumps him just a tick. Then we see the contact. Kyle Petty's car started sideways.
And then they come off the second corner, and this is what happened.
So then Brett decided, well, I'll go on the inside of him, and we see Kyle's car get out of shape. He starts coming down the racetrack, and wow, some heavy contact. And those guys on the outside were saying, thank God we're on the outside.
And Brett wisely got out of it there. That could have been a big wreck.
But now here comes Brett back up to challenge Kyle for third place.
And that's 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all those cars running for position. Alan Kawicki is in the 6th spot.
That's got 3, 4, 5, and 6 because Harry Gant passed them a little bit ago. He's in second place and moved on out away from him.
Here's Brett looking to the outside, coming out of turn number 2.
Bill Elliott, here comes Dick Trickle, car number 8. Brett's going to back out of it. He's not going to.
In fact, he lost a position to Elliott.
Yeah. Well, he's learned that you can't charge, take foolish chances on this racetrack because it'll jump up and bite you in a hurry. And he's had a good run here today, stayed in the top 5 all day long. He likes that. Now Trickle trying to move on the inside of Brett Bodine. Brett says, hey, Carl, just let me get strung out here and get my groove back, my rhythm back, and I'll be okay. But they aren't going to let him do that.
Trickle passes him, and now Alan Kawicki and his brother Jeff are on his tail.
Ricky Rudd back. See, Kawicki is in the lead lap of these guys, and the Jeff Bodine car is a lap down.
Something dragging on that 42 car.
Well, when he and Brett Bodine got together, it did tear some of the stripping, rubber stripping loose.
Oh, there's some contact between Elliott and Kyle Petty.
And Elliott is going to go to third.
Well, Kyle's going to feel like he's
and look at Brett.
Bumper ball out there.
Oh, Brett had to once again back off when he got into the third turn side by side with Kyle.
And here's Jeff and the Kawicki car once again side by side. Going to try to get on the inside. Kyle Petty decides, okay, I'm going to quit racing with these guys because my tires are just simply gone. Let them go. Probably the best thing you do, be come in the pits, get some fresh ones, and
that's he's going to do that. Yeah, he's slowing down.
He must be listening to you, Ben. Here's Kyle off the banking, down on the flat portion of the apron, headed for the pits, and John.
Kyle was going to come in about 20 laps from now, but the car is really loose. And also, the water temperature is up to about 240 degrees. As I see him roll in, there's a bunch of rubber on that front grille, so it's not getting cooled the way it should. And now they will bump up the rear spoiler just a little bit. They're tightening the car up as it's gone away and gotten very loose on them. A 4-tire change. They haven't made any move yet to pull that rear bumper strip away. Now they do pull that bumper strip away that has been torn off just a little bit. And now there's a crash caution. Kyle guns the engine and is gone.
Rusty Wallace was involved.
What a tough break for Kyle Petty. He makes a pit stop, and while he's sitting in the pits, the caution flag comes out.
Now everybody else will get to come in during the caution, and that's going to put him at least 1 lap down. Tough break.
Brett Bodine ran in the back of the 2 car. Rusty Wallace is slowed dramatically, and Brett Bodine pulled up behind him and hit him, and around Rusty went, and he did a 360, didn't hit a thing, and kept the car moving in the right direction.
For the 3rd time today, the caution flag waves over the racetrack. This comes on lap 221, and here it is again.
There we see Rusty. Brett pulls up right behind him, starts to go. Starts to go under him, and basically just
run into it.
Ran into him. Couldn't stop the car in time. Ran the back.
Oh, close there on Alan Kawicki.
It was a nice 360 he made there and headed back in the right direction and all around.
But the driver who suffered because of that caution was Kyle Petty, who was caught in the pits when the yellow came out. Jerry Punch reports on the pit stops that are about to happen.
And Bob, once again, a big break for Harry Gant. He was, they were waiting. The other leaders were going to come in about 10 or 12 laps, but Gant had scheduled himself to come in 2 laps. So the caution comes out at the appropriate time, and they will struggle down pit road. Here is the Hamilton Ford of Davey Allison, Bill Elliott, and Harry Gant brings the Oldsmobile to a halt. They will change all 4 tires. They are cleaning the rubber off the front of the car. They say the car is a little bit tight. They plan on putting some tape across the front grill section to try to loosen the car up a little bit. Now, crew member goes and puts some tape across the lower part of the front air dam while left side tires are going on. They're trying to get tape to stick because there's too much rubber there. Jack is away, and Gant is down and away.
Davey Allison will win the race out of the pits. Gant will be second, then Brett Bodine and Davey Allison, Bill Elliott. And here once again is a replay of the reason we're under caution.
You can see the green car of Brett Bodine coming up quickly on Rusty Wallace, and he looks like he's going to try to go under him and then just hits him from the rear. That's Jeff Bodine up on the outside there. And Rusty does a 360 and does a great job. You see Alan Kowicki, boy, he had to be holding his breath and just squeezing up there and said, please don't come back up in front of me. And Rusty didn't.
And now here comes the rest of the field in for their pit work. Under caution at Darlington. Back with more ESPN Speed World coverage of the Trans-South 500.
Welcome to Walmart.
Welcome to Walmart means number 1, customer service, and number 2, the lowest prices.
And it is. It's personal service.
Yeah.
And that's what people like.
It gives them a sense of that we do care, and it's very important that they know that.
It doesn't really seem like work when you're working with customers. You get the satisfaction of making a customer happy and then walking out of the store feeling good about the purchase that they made. The low prices speak for themselves.
Welcome to Walmart. Our grand opening begins Wednesday in Newport News.
I went to the museum the other day. The Chamber of Horrors, iron ladies that scrunched your body into weird, unnatural positions, not unlike my last car. Fortunately, this Suzuki Swift GA has plenty of room. Gets an EPA estimated 39 mpg city, 43 mpg highway, and I didn't have to have my paycheck surgically altered to own it. Isn't history swell?
The Suzuki Swift GA, starting at under $6,900. It's almost a little overwhelming.
At your nearby Suzuki dealer. Suzuki, everyday vehicles that aren't. In tournament then, and now, the NIT semifinals, Monday night at 7 Eastern, live on ESPN. Trackbacks are brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
The construction of a Winston Cup race car varies significantly from that of our passenger cars, but some of the principles remain the same. Take a look at the front of Kenny Schrader's Chevrolet Lumina. Now, the front grille section and bumper are held in place by these small diameter tubes here. Compare these to the large heavy-duty roll bars used for structural integrity. Now, these tubes here are designed to bend or collapse on impact, thereby absorbing some of the energy, much like our energy-absorbing front bumpers on our passenger cars. The thoughts? Well, if you allow some gradual deceleration or energy to be absorbed up front, you can protect the more vital organs within the car, such as the engine or possibly even the driver.
Another safety element built into each of these Winston Cup cars. We are under caution here as the pace car has the field in tow in turn number 4 with 224 laps on the board. Davey Allison is the car right behind the pace car, and he has led all but 26 laps of this event. He has led at least 1 lap in the last 9 Winston Cup races, a streak that goes way back to Charlotte of '91. We have the use of a telestrator. Pablo Parsons has the pin in hand and will demonstrate right now how this crash occurred.
Well, this is going to really be good. We can see the Rusty Wallace car. That's the 2 car, the Miller Genuine Draft car. It looks like that Brett Bodine just closed up on him so fast and closed the gap that Rusty, something might have happened to the car, and there is some contact. Just slight contact right there, but all it takes is slight contact. Around goes Rusty, and around, and Alan Kowicki barely gets by. Rusty gets the car headed in the right direction, puts it in about 3rd gear, and drives on.
And he's out on the racetrack now, still 1 lap down. He didn't really lose a whole lot as far as position is concerned. He might have lost his cool there for a moment, but He said, thank God I didn't hit anything.
Could have lost a race car easily.
Yeah.
He's 14th, by the way. Rusty Wallace is 14th on the restart.
Well, he did lose some positions then because he was running in 9th position before that happened.
Excellent crowd on hand here this afternoon as the grandstand here on the main straightaway is full and the one on the backstretch is nearly full. They stand and watch the resumption of this race on the 226th lap. Doyle Ford showing the green flag, and here we go back to racing. Up there trying to get a lap back.
And he might have it going into turn 3. He does beat Allison into the turn. There's Jeff Bodine, who's been trying to get a lap back since early in the race when he made an unscheduled pit stop for a flat tire. He might get his back.
Ooh, puts Davey up. Davey gets a car sign. Harry again takes the lead.
And Ricky Rudd gets a lap back. And here comes Brett Bodine.
Ricky passed Davey, but see Harry again is taking the lead, so he has to pass him now before he gets to that lap.
Yep. Schrader and Jeff Bodine get their laps back. Well, let's look at that again.
Okay, here Jeff Bodine goes under Davey Allison. Now watch Davey as he goes up the racetrack in the loose stuff and gets the car sideways. Has to get out of the gas, and while he does that, Gant goes blowing by.
So now Harry Gant assumes the lead of this race with Davey Allison second and Brett Bodine third.
In fourth place is Bill Elliott. We don't see him on the screen. He's not too far back.
John Kernan has an update on Kyle Petty.
Bob Kyle came in right before we went back to green. They had to refill the radiator with water. An overheating problem. Robin Pemberton, did that fix it?
Yeah, I hope so. If you look up in the outside the groove on the racetrack, there's a lot of rubber. You know, at this particular place, the tires wear so much. So when he was running hard with Davey, the grill got plugged. So hopefully, I don't think it did any engine damage. It just was an untimely thing to happen.
Well, as I told you before, they've had a lot of gremlins bite them this weekend, and it bit them just again this afternoon, although not a very deep bite, it appears.
Johnny's in 17th position now. He was up there fighting for the lead before that gremlin got him.
Ken Schrader did get a lap back, but he's now falling back, and Harry Gant has passed him once again, so have several others. So Jeff Bodine is still back on the lead lap.
There we see Jeff Bodine, the red car, the red Motorcraft Ford, direct in front of Harry Gant's Skull Bandit.
And a Napa Field summary for you again. Trying to do this at least every 15 minutes.
And you can see Jeff Bodine is in 8th place, so there are 8 cars in the lead lap as long as he stays in front of Harry Gant. Still a lot of cars that are 1 lap down.
All those cars racing for position and racing about as hard as Harry Gant and Davey Allison for the lead. I don't think anybody's racing any harder than Jeff Bodine right now.
Oh, boy, he is wanting a caution right now.
He's got to stay in front of that 33 car so he can get back up and race for the win because he does have a good race car.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, some contact.
Again, contact involving Jeff Bodine, and Harry Gant pulls alongside him going down the backstretch, but Jeff just will not relinquish it. Oh, now Gant passes him.
Well, Gant just drove her right on in there that time.
And here comes Ricky Rudd right behind Harry.
Ooh, tell you what, Harry just piled it down in turn 3.
Well, he knew he had the preferred position going into that turn. So he said, I'm going to take her in there. You'll have to do what you want to up there on that outside.
Well, Harry didn't go as high in turns 1 and 2 as he did a while ago. But without question, this is a Harry Gant racetrack. Does this track fit your driving style, Harry?
No, I think I maybe respect it a little bit, you know. And we always have a good handling car here, though. That's never been it's just bad handling. And that's been the key to our success here. One more races here, probably ain't racetrack we won in the Winston Cup circuit. And it's doing the Bush and the Winston Cup together. They've always had a good car. Always handles good here.
Harry Gant, since his win here at the Southern 500 last September, has scored more points than any other Winston Cup driver. Now check this out. As far as manufacturers' points earned since the Southern 500 last year. Who's at the top of that list? Well, it's also Harry Gant, as he has earned Oldsmobile 76 points with an average finish of just over 4. Darlington is the scene of the Trans-South 500. Back in a moment.
It's one of the most technologically advanced, most rigorously tested fluids on Earth, relentlessly measured for maximum protection against the friction, the wear and tear, the heat and stress of today's engines. It is today's Quaker State. In Europe, in Japan, in America, Quaker State quality has passed the most demanding tests automakers can throw at it. At Quaker State, we don't just say we're tough, we're tested tough. The big Q is one tough motor oil.
To fight the effects of corrosion, the body of the Buick Regal has been built with two-side galvanized steel that goes beyond what most car makers use. Beyond Honda, beyond Toyota. In fact, all Buicks are warranted against outer body rust-through for 6 years or 100,000 miles. And that's a promise you don't have to take with a grain of salt.
Major League Baseball is in your face on ESPN with America's Game of the Week, Sunday Night Baseball, plus single games on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday nights, and a Friday night doubleheader. Got it! Opening day is April 6th as the Blue Jays meet the Tigers, the Giants battle the Dodgers, and the Mets take on the Cardinals. An opening day tripleheader, Monday, April 6th, live on ESPN.
It's one of the most technologically advanced, most rigorously tested fluids on Earth, relentlessly measured for maximum protection against the friction, the wear and tear, the heat and stress of today's engines. It is today's Quaker State. In Europe, in Japan, in America, Quaker State quality has passed the most demanding tests automakers can throw at it. At Quaker State, we don't just say we're tough, we're tested tough. The big Q is one tough motor oil.
The first of 16 Winston Cup races televised in 1992 on ESPN Speed World. This is the Trans-South 500 from Darlington Raceway in Darlington, South Carolina. Our Speed World coverage is brought to you by Buick and your local Buick dealers. Remember Buick, the new symbol for quality in America. And by Smooth Busch Beer and easy drinking Busch Light. Few clouds overhead, but by and large a nice Sunday afternoon here in the Carolinas. One car detected with some smoke. That's the #1 car of Rick Mast that has been black flagged and will drop down low on the racetrack and allow the others to pass by, including Michael Waltrip and Dale Earnhardt. Rick Mast coming in. His finishes here at Darlington last year in the 13th and an 11th.
I think it's tire smoke or something, because I saw the car the lap before they black flagged down in turn 1. And oh, Brett Bodine spins down in turn 1.
I think he's going to keep it off the wall. He's low on the track. Got the car sideways. A lot of smoke coming from the tires, and the caution is out.
I tell you, he's another lucky soul, like Rusty Wallace was, that he didn't slide back up in front of the oncoming traffic.
John Kernan, what's your report from the pits?
Well, just a few laps ago, Brett had radioed in and said the car was just too tight, that it did not want to turn when he would take it down into turn 1. So apparently some kind of a handling problem there. They've been working on that chassis all day long. Now, also concerning Rick Mast, he did have a tire rubbing. There was some contact between he and Dale Earnhardt as it came out of turn 4 just a couple of laps before we saw the tire smoke. Brett has just radioed in and told the crew that he will just need tires, that the car, other than that, is okay. But he does have a flat left front tire, we can see.
He's going to definitely need a left front, because that's obviously flat.
And one reason that car might have been pushing so bad, if that left front tire was going down. And you can see it there.
He went in the corner so slow that Dick Trickle behind in the Snickers board had no choice. He ran in the back of him. Basically what happened to Rusty Wallace deal, and around goes Brett Bodine.
As pit stops occur, Jerry Punch reports.
as expected. Harry Gant, Bill Elliott, Davey Allison, and like the lead cars come down pit road. Gant will get 4 tires as the crew now going to work on that machine. They just pitted about 22 laps ago, about 18 laps ago actually, so they don't really need them, but they have no choice but to come in and take fresh rubber. Gant now getting left side tires. Service being completed down pit road on the Bill Elliott machine and Davey Allison. As Harry Gant is off the jack and heads down pit road. Watch that race down toward turn 1, and this time Harry Gant is the first car back to turn 1.
And Bill Elliott is the second car this time. Here's Alan Kawicki going in on the backstretch.
The only car able to pit on the back straightaway is Alan Kawicki because he's the only car pitting back there on the lead lap. But now he's got to start behind all those cars that just pitted before.
And Brett Bodine comes in, and they are changing all 4 tires on that car that spun down in turn number 1, bringing out our 4th caution of the day. Quick service completed on the Quaker State Ford, and Brett Bodine is back underway. We'll take another break and be back with more from Darlington in just a moment.
He breaks a tackle at the 5, slides into second, rounds the backstretch, dribbles between the legs, treads the mogul, that's there, skates past center right, turns an ace, connects.
The Suzuki Dual Sport 350S, the ultimate cross trainer.
And what a ride!
What makes a mountain man a mountain man? Let's find out. Must a mountain man be a big burly guy with an axe? A man of steel? Must a mountain man even be a man? Actually, the only requirement for real mountain manhood is the right beer. Smooth bush beer or easy drinking bush light. So, head for the mountains and learn what makes the typical mountain man anything but.
Buick introduces the new supercharged Ultra for 1992 with 20% more power. 205 horsepower to be exact. Ultra truly ranks among the world's finest luxury performance sedans. The new 1992 supercharged Ultra from Buick, the new symbol for quality in America.
We got it, we got it, we got it, we got it, you got it, you got it, you got it, you got it, we got it, we got it.
If you've got to have it, there's no better time to get it.
We got it, we got it, we got it, you got it, you got it, you got it.
The Suzuki We've Got It flexible financing. Come and get it.
ESPN Speed World coverage of the Trans-South 500 under the 4th caution of the day, and Elmo Langley, former driver in Winston Cup competition who now pilots the pace car, is out there with the field under tow. Now let's go to the crew cam, and Todd Parrott from Rusty Wallace's Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac team.
Carrying the tires around, drops off the right front, goes around, drops off the right rear. Now he goes around the left side. Oh, he's going to work on the spoiler a little bit while he's there. He's bending it down to reduce the drag on down the straightaway and take some of the down pressure in the corner off the rear end.
He's a busy person, not only grabbing the tires, but making the spoiler adjustment and making sure other things happen while Rusty is in for probably somewhere around 20, 22 seconds, something like that.
Meanwhile, Brett Bodine has been in 3 times during this caution flag.
245 laps are completed while we are under caution. Another break, and back with more racing in a moment.
Racing. I can't explain it. You're kind of in a limbo zone. Time's different. Speed's different. Everything works different. It sounds totally cosmic. It's out there somewhere.
Kyle Petty and mellow yellow. There's nothing mellow about him.
The winningest battery in NASCAR isn't a special racing battery. It's exactly the same battery you can buy for your car at Sears. Sears Die Hard, the battery that performs 3 times better than industry standards. Die Hard, more power when you need it most. After all, who's gonna back you better than Sears?
Over 1 million people each week walk into AutoZone, and taking care of them means having what they need when they need it.
That means stocking a lot of parts for a lot of cars. Now, nobody can stock everything, but we stock more than most. And how do we know which ones to carry? That's easy. We listen to our customers, because nobody knows better about what you want than you. So the next time you walk through that door, you might think of yourself as a customer, but we think of you as the boss.
Flag has just come out. About a half a lap of action on lap 248 as Jeff Bodine has once again gotten his lap back. Harry Gant is the leader. And that last car that went by there in the speed shot, despite the fact that he told us in the garage area he was out of the race, Darrell Waltrip has taken the Western Auto Chevy back onto the racetrack.
Bill Elliott, meanwhile, going for 4 in a row. He's moved up to second spot. That red 11, the big bud coming at you in second spot now.
He's in contention once again.
He's won in the Winston Cup circuit.
There's Kyle Petty. Of course, Kyle a lap down with that green flag pit stop he made. He should be up to 8th position, I believe. Yes, 8th position. Jeff Bodine is 7. There are 6 cars. Well, actually, 7 cars in the lead lap, counting Jeff Bodine. He is indeed in the lead lap.
And it isn't very much of a question recent driver to win 4 races in a row. If Bill can't pull that feat off today, it of course was Harry Gant.
Mr. September.
Yeah.
What month did he do that in, Bob?
I think it was October, wasn't it? Here's the Napa Field summary. Watch for your favorite driver. You haven't congratulated me on the excellent performance of the Indiana University Hoosiers last night yet, Benny.
I was waiting on the Duke University congrats. Congrats.
Okay.
Did you see that ball game?
That was unbelievable.
Man.
Duke had a much tougher game than IU did.
Yeah,
they did.
No doubt
they sure
about
did.
it. All the way.
There's some drivers that are 2 laps down, and Hamilton and Irvin, or Mast rather, 3 laps down. So Dave Marcus.
Hutch Bricklin having a problem. His crew just went to the garage area with their rolling toolbox, so Hut having a problem. He was up in the top 7 because he was on the lead lap before he started having his problems.
Jeff Bodine, his Motograph Ford runs awfully well for about 10 laps. And then his car, Harry Gant's car, starts to be a little bit more dominant. The Skull Bannock car starts to be a little bit more dominant.
If he could catch a caution soon after they go back to green, he would be able to get his lap back. But we have these long periods of green, and his car goes away, and he loses a lap.
We see Harry now closing up on the back off, and here he comes on the inside.
And there he goes.
Puts Jeff Bodine down a lap once again.
Here comes Bill Elliott, still running in second position, and we talked earlier about the possibility of 4 in a row here this afternoon, and we asked him earlier in the weekend, can you accomplish that feat?
I don't know. You know, this racetrack's always a situation at any point in time. They come out with this different spoiler change and stuff, and it'll take a bit of time for everybody to get adjusted to it, and I don't know what that's going to do.
Elliott second to the leader, Harry Gant. Now running in 3rd position is Davey Allison. 4th position is Mark Martin, and in 5th is Alan Kulwicki.
And in 6th place will be Brett Bodine. Those are the 6 cars on the lead lap. Kyle Petty now has moved into 7th after he passed Jeff Bodine. So Bodine would be 8th. Each of those cars are a lap down.
Is 4th and 5th, Martin and Kulwicki, and there's Ricky Rudd.
Now he too is a lap down, so he's the next car. He would be in the 8th position.
Martin is closing in though on Davey, who's in 3rd. Allison has not been as strong here in the last 50 laps as he was in the first half of the race.
Either he is not as strong or the others have gotten a little bit stronger. And how many times have we seen Harry Gant come on at the last half of the race?
You're right.
And it'd be tough to make an excuse for Davey, but again, medically, his spokesperson, Brian Banniger, told me he was really not feeling well and was in danger of losing his voice. and it worked out some hand signals so he could communicate with the crew in case he did lose his voice. And we hear Martin's pulled up on the back, and there's Kyle Petty moved over on the inside, going very slow.
Yeah, he's coming in. That overheating problem might have gotten to him.
Davey trying to get by Jeff Bodine, pulls on the inside of him and here comes Mark Hart.
Oh, yeah, Brass.
3 wide down into turn 1.
Then Alan Kowicki goes 3 wide. Somebody's got to back off.
Whoa, and Mark is sideways, and he saved it.
What a giant. Kowicki goes up and almost hits the wall. They're still out of control up there. No, I think they're under control now. I'm out of control.
Wow.
Man. Martin, just like a shot out of a cannon coming off 4, made it 3 wide, and look what happened.
Well, he's cleared Davey Allison, but Alan Kowicki got in there, and he had to run in the corner so hard that he hit Martin when Martin backed off to go into the turn. A miracle that they watched those cars.
Watch Kowicki go up and almost get in the wall.
Yep. Well, that puts Mark now in 3rd, Davey in 4th, and Allen in 5th.
What a job of saving the race car, going in the corner, off the gas. That's like saving the car on ice. Off the gas. You know you can't do that. What a great job.
There's Terry. And not too far behind is Bill Elliott. He is now within a fraction of a second. Can Elliott make it 4 in a row here at Darlington today? We'll be back in a moment.
The 1992 Lincoln Mercurys are now on sale at Coliseum Lincoln Mercury, with a car to meet your lifestyle and needs. From the incomparable Lincoln Town Car to the totally redesigned Sable and Grand Marquis to the sporty Capri convertible. With factory financing and rebates up to $750 on all models, come to Coliseum Lincoln Mercury to see the entire 1992 Lincoln Mercury lineup.
Hello, welcome to Walmart.
Welcome to Walmart means number 1, customer service, and number 2, the lowest prices.
And it is, it's personal service. Yeah. And that's what people like.
It gives them a sense of that we do care, and it's very important that they know that.
It doesn't really seem like work when you're working with customers. You get the satisfaction of making a customer happy and then walking out of the store feeling good about the purchase that they made. The low prices speak for themselves.
Welcome to Walmart. Our grand opening begins Wednesday in Newport News.
Hunter, where can I see the America's Cup?
In your face.
ESPN is the one network where great sports are always
in your face.
ESPN, ESPN, your face.
Well, that America's Cup racing certainly isn't as fast, but it's definitely as exciting, and they'll have onboard cameras just like we have onboard cameras here at the Trans-South 500. The 5th Winston Cup race of the year. We're glad you could join us live for the first of 16 Winston Cup telecasts on the ESPN schedule for 1992. Next is Bristol next weekend. But between now and then, catch up on what happened during this race as you join us for our Checkered Flag program tomorrow night at 5:30. We will have a recap of this race and all the behind-the-scenes activity that went on. The Checkered Flag Series, 5:30 tomorrow evening here on ESPN.
And Bill Elliott looks to me like he's gaining just a tick on there again.
I think he is. He's just barely creeping up on him. He's another sort of cagey one, sort of like Gant. You never know what he has until the end. And I'm sure they've been making some adjustments on the Budweiser Ford at each of these pit stops. So he's right in.
Just about 4 or 5 car lengths separating first and second.
A racetrack between Elliott and Martin in 3rd.
And this is an awfully good race for 4th spot. Davey Allison, Alan Kowicki. Kowicki is running extremely high down in turn 1. Last time I thought he went in and had a flat tire so high. As he goes in the corner, watch the car goes right up to the wall. And that time not as nearly as high as it was a little bit ago, but And Davey almost loses the back end. Kowicki tries to get alongside and takes a spot away.
Alan Kowicki goes to 4th place. And I'll tell you, Alan, well, now wait a minute. Davey's going to battle back here in turns 3 and 4. Nope, Alan's going to hold him off. Kowicki to 4th. He started 25th. Been a great run for Kowicki in the Hooters Ford today.
Especially since he's had to get on the backstretch. But once they got down to 6 or 7 cars in the lead lap, that helped his case.
And look, your Bill Elliott has closed up right on the back bumper of Harry Gant. I cannot believe the year that Elliott and this Bud team is having.
He has a championship year going. There's no question about that. When you combine the talent of Bill Elliott, the talent of Junior Johnson and Tim Brewer and everybody else on the crew, plus the tremendous luck that Bill has been having in the first 4 races, he is on championship pace. But still second in the point standings. And as you saw in the beginning of the show, these 2 guys right here are tied for second in the point standings. 58 behind the leader of the Winston Cup quest, Davey Allison.
Now one of them will get ahead of the other after this race because they can't be tied as Davey Allison continues to slip back. Ricky Rudd moves around him. That was not pole position. Rudd is a lap down. But both Harry Gant and Bill Elliott have led today, got the 5 bonus points. Neither of them can lead enough laps to get that other 5 bonus points, so whichever finishes in front of the other one will move into second place in the points. That is assuming they both finish and somebody else doesn't move up there.
We saw Ricky Rudd going by Davey Allison. You know, David, he's dropped back a little bit. He might have lost a handle on that car here in the last 10 or 15 laps.
Well, it might have, and maybe as you said earlier, not feeling well. I'll tell you, this is the time of the race after as hard as he's been racing out there that he might not be feeling this good.
Well, everything is pretty much single file at this time, and the race settled down here with 269 laps completed, so we'll take a break and be back with another field summary after this.
And isn't it true that this auto part did, in fact, come from the defendant's car?
Objection. Prosecution is leading the witness.
Overruled. You may answer the question.
This part most definitely came from that car.
And how can you be sure?
I work for Napa Auto Parts. It's my job to be sure.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Napa people are parts experts, so they can answer any question, whatever the case may be.
Last year, the average price of a car with standard anti-lock brakes was over $40,000. But today, all that's changed. Because the company that offers more models with standard anti-lock brakes than anyone also offers the lowest priced car in America with standard anti-lock brakes. Chevy Cavalier.
The heartbeat of America.
The cars more people depend on.
That's today's Chevrolet.
Win a trip to the World Series or a week at ESPN's Fantasy Baseball Camp. It's the Babe Movie Contest. Call 1-900-737-1714. The call costs 99 cents a minute. To enter, correctly answer a question based on the movie The Babe. Or send name, address, phone number, and the name of the last team the Babe played for to this address. Winners selected by random drawing. Get a different trivia fact nightly on ESPN's Baseball Tonight. And watch for The Babe, starring John Goodman at a theater near you.
Jenkins, Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch back at Darlington Raceway in South Carolina. Harry Gant leading Bill Elliott by the shortest of margins with 272 laps finished here in this 367-lap race. Here's another Napa field summary as we run down the entire field for you and where these guys are running at the moment.
All those 5 cars, of course, in the lead lap. And so is Brett Bodine. And we have a lot of cars that are 1 lap down. Rudd, Jeff Bodine, Labonte, Bonka Walter back to 15th place.
Dale Earnhardt again has not led a lap today, so that streak continuing, a streak that he would like very much to break soon.
Just 2 cars in 2 laps down there. Derek Cope and Ted Musgrave, so those 2 cars raced position.
Kyle Petty still in 23rd position, even though he is out of the race in the Mellow Yellow Pontiac. Apparently that overheating problem he had has caused some engine damage, and he is out of the race.
You know, we saw Bill Elliott, and we always talk about saving the tires and saving this and saving that. He made a run at Harry Gant a little bit earlier, 10, 15 laps ago. Closed up on the back bumper, thought he might take the lead. Saw that he couldn't. He just backed off, took it easy, and that's what we mean.
Here's Elliott going for the lead, and he's got it into turn 1. Bill Elliott goes in front of Harry Gant and takes the lead on the 275th lap.
Well, Gant wants it back. No, he's going to back off. So there's no point. In fact, there's no point in either one of them taking any big chances there. They're both getting on television while they're running first and second. And they can't lead enough laps, as I said earlier, to get the 5-point bonus. So,
look at that puff of smoke that came from Gant's car.
Yes, sir. That's coming out the exhaust pipe, too, fellas.
Ooh, that may indicate some problems.
Hey, he's still running good right on the back bumper of Bill Elliott, but...
You know, might have been brakes.
Boy, it looked like it was coming through the center of the car, right at the exhaust pipe there. I don't know. Could have been something else, and maybe the smoke was just coming out of the front, and we were just seeing it at the. And look who's coming up, fellas!
It's
Mark Martin is gaining on him.
Mark is in third.
You're right. He has gained on both those cars. So Harry Gant definitely has a problem. He definitely has some type of problem.
Definitely falling back now to Elliott. They have separated themselves by 10, 15 car lengths, and Mark Martin is closing rapidly on Harry.
Alan Kowicki is not that far behind Mark Martin. Well, he is really coming in on Harry Gant. This Gant is slowing down. And Mark Martin, really before, I started to mention a moment ago, fellas, that he was creeping up on him. Then we got to watching them battle up there for the lead and forgot about it until right now, and he's coming right on.
Well, let's go down to Jerry Punch. He's with Andy Petrie. Maybe we can find out what the problem is with Harry.
Andy, just a minute ago, we saw a little bit of smoke out of the front of the car. Is there a problem with Harry?
I don't think so. I think maybe he just got in that corner a little bit hard. Maybe locked up the left front wheel. It might have been what the smoke was. He didn't say anything on the radio.
He has slowed down. You think it's maybe just the tires giving up?
Yeah, you know, we're not being able to get much wear out of them right now. I don't know what the deal is. We're going to pit here in about 5 or 6 laps and see what happens.
Well, we'll watch for Harry Gant to make that pit stop in about 5 laps here and for 4 fresh tires. Bob?
Well, that wouldn't account for why we saw the smoke, but it certainly would account for the fact that the car is slowing down. The tires are just going away on the car, and now he drives it way up on the wall.
Yeah, he's trying to find himself a groove where the car feels, and he's found himself a little bit better of a groove because he's starting to maintain that difference between he and Bill Elliott. So he's found a better way around the racetrack.
So we should be seeing pit stops here in the next 5, 6, 7, as many as 10 laps. As Gant is third, Martin is fourth, there is Mark, and back in 5th position, not too far behind, is Alan Kowicki. Great run today for Alan in the Hooters Ford.
Tell you what, he's been having a great run this entire year, that car. He at Richmond, he came 18 inches in winning the race, beating Bill Elliott. But he lacked 18 inches. Bill Elliott won the race, and Kowicki will forever be in the record book as a second-place finisher. Look how high he's going up in 1 and 2.
Here's a Big A Auto Parts on-track interval. Now, we timed 2 different cars. Elliott, the leader, and Alan Kowicki running back there in 4th position. And look how he has closed in, narrowing it from a 3.6-second interval on lap 268 to a 2.9-second interval at the end of 272 laps.
And the same thing holds true for Mark Martin because he has been moving closer and closer to Bill Elliott, the leader.
There's gaining about 0.2 of a second a lap. You can see Elliott was running about 32.6 and Kowicki 32.4.
So it is Bill Elliott, followed by Harry Gant, Mark Martin, Alan Kowicki, and then Davey Allison.
Well, for the Ernie Irvin fans, he has taken his Kodak film Chevrolet to the garage area. He had a problem earlier with the car and was many laps down, but now he's out of the race.
Well, these cars running different lines all the way around the racetrack. We see Bill Elliott running right on the bottom of the racetrack, Gant and Kowicki running up on top of the racetrack, and if I'm not mistaken, Martin running on the bottom of the track. So 4 cars all running different spots on too much lower on the racetrack. Gordon Martin moves up now behind Harry.
And then we've had a cloud cover to move in here in the last 45 or so minutes, which maybe changes, I'm sure it changes the racetrack some. The sun is not beaming down on it, maybe not quite as slick as it was a little bit earlier, and might be working better for some. Maybe for Mark Martin, it might be one that's working better for him.
And Harry Gant is going extremely high. And you know, I would bet, Ned, that you brought up the key to what's going to happen to Harry Gant. It's overcast, and the car is slowed down a little bit.
Harry Gant will pit in about 5 more laps as Mark Martin is really working on him now here for second spot. And now Mark Martin pulls to the inside. He's got Bobby Hamilton right there on the inside, which means he cannot pull off the pass. He has to brake and fall in behind Harry Gant. But now he may mount another challenge here in the second turn.
Ooh, I tell you what, that is close when they cut across the nose of that car like that. Just inches apart.
All right, we'll take a break and be back for the pit stops, which are coming up soon in the Trans-South 500 from Darlington Raceway in South Carolina. Back in a moment.
Look for the sign.
Professional service.
The red, blue, and white.
A friendly face.
It's a good sign.
Your Big A Pro.
Keeps your car running right.
Nice to know he uses top quality Big A parts.
Big A. The sign that keeps your car running right.
Someone to depend on when you need to depend on your car.
Suzuki GS 500E. It hustles and still leaves cash in your pocket.
What does it take to be a mountain man? Let's see. A mountain man must be fearless, sure-footed, willing to answer the call of the wild. But most of all, a mountain man should be thirsty for a smooth bush beer or an easy drinking bush light. So, head for the mountains and see if you have what it takes to be a real mountain man.
We got it, we got it, we got it, we got it, you got it, you got it, you got it, you got it, we got it, we got it.
If you've got to have it, there's no better time to get it.
We got it, we got it, we got it, you got it, you got it, you got it.
The Suzuki We've Got It flexible financing. Come and get it.
Bill Elliott continues to lead this Winston Cup race at Darlington Raceway in South Carolina. And Mark Martin has taken over second because Harry Gant just could not wait any longer and he had to come in for a pit stop. Now watch Mark Martin pass Harry Gant.
This is down in turn 1. They go in the corner. Gant's car moves up the racetrack. Martin decides, and we can say, when I say up the racetrack, really up the racetrack, Martin says, okay, I'll go on the inside of him. As they come off the corner, Martin has to let his car go up. Harry's car brings his car down, and boom. There's a tire mark on the 33. That's black spot was not there just a second ago.
Yeah, got the Darlington stripe on the wrong side.
And like I say, Harry just couldn't wait any longer. The tires were gone on the Skull Bandit Oldsmobile. You can see the tire mark there on the side of the car. And so he did come in, got 4 fresh Goodyears. Quick pit stop for Harry. Back on the racetrack he went.
Now he's going to be running a lot faster than the leaders, fellas. Now, as a result of having those new tires on, they can run for a while as far as gas is concerned, but how long can they afford to run? Now, can they go far enough that they can make it on just one more pit stop? Gant will have to stop twice.
Gant falls into 7th position as he comes back out onto the racetrack a lap down.
Looking from inside Mark Martin's car, that's the Derek Cope Pure Leader Chevrolet directly in front of him.
We're still on record pace. The record is 135.5, and the speed at this point is over 137. Ricky Rudd, remember, is the record holder, having set it last year at this race. Martin goes to the outside and passes Derek Cope.
Brakes. Now we're down to 132, 127, 120 miles per hour. The lowest spot. You know, it just doesn't look, folks. I mean, you sit at home, you say, I can't believe this. It doesn't look that fast. Y'all be in there. It's that fast, I'm telling you.
175 before the break point.
As is Darrell Waltrip that Mark Martin just went around. That's Michael Waltrip up there in front of him.
Notice that 147 was the lowest speed there in the third and fourth turns, and that is faster than they will be in 1 and 2.
About 27 miles per hour.
Jerry Punch has a comment.
Well, we all know Harry Gant has to make at least one more pit stop. We'll have to make one more stop for fuel. However, Bill Elliott, remember what happened in Atlanta, being on a lap to himself? He will make one more stop, and that's it, folks. He should come in about lap 303, 304, 305, somewhere like that, and that should be his last stop if we go green the rest of the way. Davey Allison is trying to stretch his fuel mileage so he can make one more stop and call it a day himself if they should go green. Let's check in on the other end of pit road with John Kernan. John?
Well, Jerry, Mark Martin has the same strategy. They're going to pit around lap 305. They figure it will be their last stop, unless, of course, there is a caution. But that's the strategy right here. One more stop. They figure to shoot it out with Bill Elliott.
Okay, what do you think, Ned? I think that Harry Gant will beat them both if he stops.
Well, Harry is definitely going to have to stop again, but he's out there turning laps right now a good bit faster than they, and of course all of them will take on 4 tires when they come in. But I don't know, Ben, with only say 125 or 30 miles to go when Harry made his pit stop, I don't know if that's enough time that he can make an extra pit stop and make up all that difference in time.
Our congratulations to Ernest Strauss of Burtonsville, Maryland, winner in the Gillette Halfway Challenge sweepstakes. He correctly named Davey Allison as the leader at the halfway point and won a Chevrolet Lumina Z34. Now, entries are now being accepted for the next race. Call 1-900-436-7000. The call will cost you 95 cents. You have to be 18 years or over. Or you can send your name and telephone number to Gillette Halfway Challenge, Post Office Box 1868, South Hackensack, New Jersey, zip code 07606.
We've been talking about what a difference a new tires make.
And you're seeing it there. And you know what I was saying right before Bob went into that halfway challenge winner? Harry Gant, as fast as he's running, Benny, he might be able to make that extra pit stop and still be there with him.
And still win the race. I mean, the Brad Brake he could get right now, if the caution flag was to come out, he would be a lap down.
Oh, yeah. That is until he catches that 11 car and gets by him. Now, we see Davey Allison's crew ready for him to come in. Now, they haven't got to that 305 mark yet that they were predicting they would go to.
But Davey Allison's car is getting slower and slower and slower. He needs to come out.
Here's Gant just blowing by Bill Elliott's Budweiser Ford. That's Cole Oldsmobile taking off.
He's now back on the lead lap.
Yeah. And these other crews have got to figure. They got to calculate and say, hey, we know he's got to make another pit stop, but the way he's running now, I don't know.
If he's running 10 seconds per lap faster, it doesn't take long.
Not 10 seconds. 2 seconds. Yeah, okay.
Now here's your Napa field summary once again. Now you will notice as we go to the second 5 that Gant here is shown as a lap down. That's not correct because just momentarily he got the lap back, but he hasn't been officially scored in that position.
And Ken Schrader now is going 2 laps down as Bill Elliott moved around him. There we see Ernie Irvin has dropped out. Kyle Petty, of course, has dropped out, so they are way down the line. So are these cars. DW is back out there running. Darrell Walker in car number 17.
And here is Davey Allison coming in for a pit stop. He gives up 4th position to come in. Jerry, he's headed for you.
And Bob, they can run about 68 to 69 laps on fuel. From this point to the end, they would have exactly 68 laps to go. They bring the car to a halt, jack the right side up. We would expect, as usual, to see a 4-tire change, clean the windshield, and clean the grill, making sure that no stone left unturned. Lug nuts coming off the left side. Back fan coming around to the left. Left side tires being pulled away, and they are making a significant chassis adjustment in the right rear of the car. The car had been pushing some and trying to get the car back. Navy is down and away. Pretty good pit stop on the green.
Ned, you hit the nail on the head a little bit ago. When the clouds came in, it became overcast. These cars started pushing and started handling poorly. Davey Allison's and Harry Gant, both those cars had to make some adjustments because of the weather change.
First half of the race, they were absolutely the fastest cars out there, but that weather can make a big difference. I don't believe he can go the rest of the way now.
And Alan Kowicki's going in on the back straightaway, and that Hooters Ford.
He gives up 3rd position as Davey builds up speed in the Haviland Ford. There is Allen coming in. Lap 3:01. We've got 46 laps to go in this event.
Paul Andrews and the crew goes to work on that car. It's going to be a 4-tire stop.
Looks like the car overheating a little as there's some fluid coming out.
That's how right behind the right rear tire, the hose from the radiator goes all the way back there. We see him scrubbing that rubber off the grill.
And Rusty Wallace is in, and Todd Parrott once again wears our crew cam. Gathering up the tires on the right side, coming around to the left.
We've seen several cars overheat. If we watch Todd Parrott do his work there, several cars overheat here today. There's a lot of rubber. We talked about the wear here today. It's scrubbing that rubber off of those tires, and it's getting in the grill of these cars and causing some overheating.
Mark Martin is also in, and John Kernan will call this stop by Mark.
Well, of course, it's going to be a 4-tire change. They're in about 2 laps earlier than what they had previously told us, but their strategy is still the same. Jack Roush and Steve Hill put their heads together moments ago after timing Harry Gant. They think that by doing it this way, they can still beat Harry Gant, that they will not have enough time to catch him. Bill Elliott is on his way down pit road, the leader of the race. Martin still sitting in, left side's going on. Now Mark is away, and Jerry Punch is down in Elliott's pit.
Mr. March brings his car. What could be his final pit stop. Just 64 laps away from the checkered flag. The Budweiser crew, now they hand Elliott a cold drink, cleaning the windshield, being very deliberate. Remember the air gun problem they had early in the race cost them 12.5 seconds. And now Tim Brewer completing the right front tire. Comes around to the left side. Jack beneath the left side of the car. 2 fresh tires. Windshield is clean. Gas in the car. Got to get it full. Got to go 64 laps. He is down and away.
And Davey Allison just passed Harry Gant on the racetrack to take over command.
Well, that adjustment they made on that 28 car seems to have really helped. Now, they're going to have a pretty good lead on whoever comes out in the...
Probably Elliott.
The third place should be Bill Elliott, I would guess.
Yeah.
Now, Harry Gant will end up being the leader currently.
Yeah, Elliott, then Martin, then Kowicki. Well, we'll sort things out, but we do know one thing for certain. Davey Allison in car number 28, the Hamilton Ford, is back on top of this Trans-South 500 as we're nearing the end of this event. We'll take a break and be back with more in a moment.
The technology developed on the track for the awesome 650 horsepower Lumina NASCAR champion goes into cars like this. The 1992 twin dual cam V6 Chevy Lumina Z34. Sorry, decals not included. Chevy Lumina Z34 from the heartbeat of America. And now it's easy to win with a heartbeat.
Pronto, the fastest growing name in auto service today. Pronto Auto Service Centers offer professional auto service and install top quality Pronto parts backed by the Pronto Protection Plus nationwide warranty. Pronto Auto Service Centers install quality name brands like Airtex fuel system parts for compatibility, reliability, and performance for both foreign and domestic cars and trucks. Now more than ever, Airtex is the name to trust.
When you need quality auto service, ask the pro at Pronto.
Coming up next, right after the conclusion of this Winston Cup race, the Defender and the Challenger. Semifinals of the America's Cup from San Diego with Jim Kelly in the group. That's immediately following our telecast of this event here at Darlington.
How fast those boats run? Go.
Well,
what do you call them?
They're not boats, Benny. They're yachts or whatever.
Well, okay. How fast do they go? Whatever they are.
Well, they don't go 175 miles an hour. I can't tell you that.
We're going from 175 to...
Yeah. And you know what else? When we took a break, we said one thing for certain was that Davey Allison was back on top. Wrong.
No, we didn't say that. You said that.
Well, but you didn't correct me, so Davey was just getting his lap back. Harry Gant is still the leader, and as a matter of fact, he has a pretty sizable lead on Bill Elliott.
About a half a lap, as a matter of fact. That's about how far ahead he is. And that's as a result of having the new tires on and picking up more than a second a lap until the others came in. Now, Gant will have to come in probably in another 30 laps or something like that, I would guess.
You're not going to let me get away with mistakes like that this year, are you, Benny?
I mean, the producer was counting us down to break. I couldn't just blurt in right then. I waited till we went to break, and then I hit you over the head.
That's for sure. Good, too.
Gant came in 17 laps before Bill Elliott did this time.
Now here are two cars that are battling for position. That's Mark Martin, number 6, and number 7, and they're battling for 3rd with Dick Trickle leading the who is not on the same lap.
They're numerically correct on the racetrack. Yep. The wiki wants to transpose those numbers. We see Mark Martin waving to Dick Trickle and said, hey, get out of the way.
We appreciate the telemetry supplied by Ford in this race, showing us some great stuff, RPMs and miles an hour, and when the driver touches the brake, which he does right now.
182 miles an hour, so Martin is really driving that car hard now, trying to make up that difference between he and Bill Elliott. Because that's who he's racing. He is racing Bill Elliott. Alan Kawicki, I think, is racing Harry Gant. And Gant's going to win that battle if Kawicki, in fact, does have to stop again.
Now, it looks like the windshield is broken on Mark's car, huh? A little crack there on the left side.
That's not really anything to be concerned about. Now, NASCAR would make them change that before the race. They couldn't start the race with that. But once the race starts, it's not really a big problem.
There's the leader, Harry Gant, just circling around here. Had a pretty good clip. And we're going to look for that 11. I got my trusty stopwatch on Gant, and we'll see how much of a difference there is. A little bit ago, it was about 15.5 seconds. And now here comes Elliott, and he's closed it down to 12.6 seconds. Wow. So with the newer tires, he really is picking up on Gant. And Gant has another pit stop to make. Elliott can go the distance.
Well, Jerry is with an individual from another sport who obviously likes auto racing. Huh, Jerry?
That's right, Bob. We know that Joe Gibbs is the winning football coach in the NFL, and one of Joe Gibbs' good buddies is one of the winningest Division I football coaches in college ranks, and that is Ken Hatfield from the Clemson Tigers. And Ken, welcome to Darlington, but you're not here to watch. You're actually working. You got your own team uniform, and what do they have you doing?
Well, we were doing great. We were 4th before one of our stripped one of the gears. Had to put a whole new transmission in, but Dale's running good out there today.
Now, you're in the middle of spring ball for the Clemson Tigers. 2 very, very successful years. What's 93 look like or 92 look like for the Tigers?
We're going to have a good football team, Jerry. We got some great people coming back, but Richard Moncrief will be our quarterback. But our main tradition is great offensive and defensive linemen and great defensive tradition. So we're going to have a good team, Jerry.
Right. Coach Ken Hatfield here, the Clemson Tigers, a guest and a working guest here in the Dale Garrett pit. Gentlemen.
Also, Coach Hatfield asked the blessing, or said the prayer, the closing prayer at church service this morning. Also said the invocation before the race today.
Nice touch by the coach. Gant is the leader with 316 out of 347 laps complete. Stand by, will it be Gant or Elliott at Darlington?
My daughter Wendy said, Dad, it's time we cook up a great new chicken sandwich. I said, Wendy, I got a honey of an idea. We'll start with a whole chicken breast fillet. Then we'll take honey and make up a special glaze with just the right spices. We'll call it our honey glazed chicken sandwich, and we'll be the only ones to have it. She said, Dad, you're always buzzing with good ideas. I said, Wendy, you do the sandwiches. I'll do the jokes.
Make a beeline for Wendy's new honey glazed chicken sandwich for a limited time only.
Goodman & Sons Jewelers and Gift Galleries, a family-owned and operated business. The Goodmans have over 41 years of experience in the marketing of fine diamonds. Sons has a large selection of men's and women's watches, along with experienced watchmakers to service them. A fine selection of gold jewelry and a complete gift gallery of carefully selected merchandise. Goodman & Sons, located in the Riverdale Plaza Shopping Center, Hampton.
Elite, it would be quite a feat for Jack to three-peat. Defending champion Jack Nicklaus goes for a 3rd consecutive win at the Tradition. Complete coverage begins Thursday on ESPN.
Glad you could join us on this Sunday afternoon for the first of 16 Winston Cup telecasts in 1992, the Trans-South 500 from Darlington Raceway, South Carolina. Harry Gant in his fourth Bandit Oldsmobile. Car number 33 is the leader of the race at the moment, with Bill Elliott second, followed by Mark Martin, Alan Kowicki, and Davey Allison. Has the interval between Gant and Elliott reduced, Ned?
Yes, it has. Elliott has closed it down to just a fraction over 9 seconds. At one time, he was about 12 seconds behind, and now he has moved. In fact, he was 15 seconds behind at one time, and now has closed it down to less than 10. Harry Gant and Ricky Rudd. Rudd made a pit stop not long ago. He has fresher tires than does Gant as they switch places on the racetrack.
And here is concrete evidence from the Big A Auto Parts on-track interval that the gap is shortening. Lap 310, the interval between Gant and Elliott was 14.7 seconds. And it continued to go down to 12 seconds even at the end of lap 314. You can see that Elliott's lap times are considerably faster than Gant, so that's the reason the interval is lessening.
Yeah, now we're at 321 laps, and so it has gotten below 10 seconds now. In fact, below 9 seconds. It'll be interesting to see how long. I believe Gant's fixing to come in here before long, fellas. I think that he's seeing that lead slip away, so he's going to come in and get those new tires on now. I think that's a smart move, because if caution should come out late, well, then he would be in position to get back in the lead lap, even if he goes a lap
Here
down.
comes right now.
Yep, he's coming in. Jerry Punch is right there. There are 26 laps to go in this race, Jerry.
And Harry Gant, as you said, gentlemen, will take the opportunity to go ahead and come on pit road to get the tires on the car. Now, about 3 pit stops ago, they found out that Harry had a right rear tire going down. Come in now, and we will watch and see if they will change all 4 tires. And yes, they will. Taking the lug nuts off the left side. Harry Gant on pit road, about 45 laps away from the checkered flag. Skull Crew now completing the right side. Charlie Preston puts the jack plate to the left side of the car. Bill Elliott is in turn 3 in the Budweiser Ford. We'll watch Elliott now coming toward turn 4. As he heads out of turn 4, here's Harry Gant. 19-second pit stop. Great effort as Gant heads for turn 1. And Elliott also heads for turn 1 on the racetrack.
Well, he'll put a lap on him. Elliott, with the speed up, he will be in front of him, but it won't take Harry Gant long to run him down with those new tires. Another fantastic pit stop by Andy Petrie and the boys in the Skull Bandit pits there, 19 seconds.
And Harry is picking up speed quickly on the backstretch, and so with those 4 tires, he could unlap himself here in the next few laps. And thanks for the correction, it is 46 or now 44 laps to the other.
Didn't you bring your calculator again, Bob?
347 was the end of the race. Just 367. Sorry, Bob.
I'm telling you. But Harry Gant's got a problem right now. There's a lot of traffic. Well, he's going to dispose of that traffic.
Yeah, he'll dispose of that traffic in a hurry. Just went around Alan Kowicki. He is in heavy traffic. Bill Elliott is right in front of that heavy traffic. We'll see that traffic right behind Elliott here in just a moment as Elliott goes into turn 3. And here he comes around Mark Martin, who is running in second place.
Boy, he's just passing cars right and left.
Yeah, he'll just motor right on by with those new tires. That's what they'll do for you. Now, he's got 2 cars right there running side by side that he can't go anywhere. That's Dick Trickle and the car number 94, Terry Labonte. Yeah, just looking for a place to go.
He found it.
Yeah, he'll get both of them right here.
Yeah, Martin was really loose coming off the corner. That lost the rear end of it. Harry Gant goes to the high side to pass Dick Trickle, and now he is really passing cars.
Yeah, and the Skull Crew holding their breath until he can get by Bill Elliott. Then it wouldn't matter if a caution comes out. But right now, they don't want a caution.
There's Bill.
Boy, those new tires make such a big difference.
There's Bill Elliott we see on the screen.
Well, you can't argue with the tremendous season that Bill has had, comparing the 89, 90, 91, and 92 seasons, finishing 6th in the points in 89, 4th in 90, 11th in 91, currently 2nd in the points. He has led 48% of the laps completed in 1992.
Now we'll watch Elliott. The next car directly behind him now is the 33 car of Harry Gant. There he is. Yep. When that Gant passes him, he will be back in the lead lap. But to win the race, Harry's going to have to go all the way around the racetrack. Can he do it in just 40 laps?
That's I think it's going to be tough for him to do, Benny, because he's going to run the car hard, and he's going to abuse those tires. He's having to run it hard right now to get back in the lead lap, just in case the caution comes out here pretty quickly.
You can only hope for a caution sometime between now and the end of the race.
He got a tough break right there because he had to back off the gas a little bit because Elliott came down and crossed his path and went in the groove he was going in. Now he should be able to go underneath Bill Elliott and get by him easily. Okay, now, can he make up a lap in the next 40? It's going to be tough.
Well, I tell you, there are a lot of Harry Anthony's down here in the grandstand below us that are going crazy as Harry has the lap. But Elliott remains in command, looking for win number 4 in Winston Cup competition.
It's one of the most technologically advanced, most rigorously tested fluids on Earth, relentlessly measured for maximum protection against the friction, the wear and tear, the heat and stress of today's engines. It is today's Quaker State. In Europe, in Japan, in America, Quaker State quality has passed the most demanding tests automakers can throw at it. At Quaker State, we don't just say we're tough, we're tested tough. The big Q is one tough motor oil.
Mister, I'm taking you in.
Marshal, isn't the feller entitled to a last meal?
Folks everywhere are headed to McDonald's for the return of the Wild West. Because for a limited time, you can rustle up the two-fisted taste of a sassy McRib or breakfast up on ham, green peppers, and cheese and a tempting Western omelet McMuffin.
Ma'am, that was mighty tasty. I'll need an order to go.
What
Yes,
you
sir.
want is what you get.
McDonald's today.
Don't you know it's not polite to talk with your mouth full?
Wow. There are 100 reasons why college football fans will enjoy these 2 ESPN home videos. But for the sake of time, here's 5 of them.
Darlington, where Bill Elliott leads the Trans-South 500 in the Budweiser Ford. Behind him, though, about a straightaway behind him, a string of cars, including second place Mark Martin and third place Alan Colwick.
These guys, how long have they been together? For the last 200 miles? It seems that way anyway.
And Benny, as you pointed out to us here during the commercial break, they were gaining on Bill Elliott before they got in that heavy traffic when Harry Gant blew through all of them there, and they lost a lot of time to Elliott, so Elliott's sitting out there in good shape right now.
That's Jeff Bodine, the Motorcraft Ford direct in front of these two. That's not for position. Bodine is in 8th spot. He's a lap down. 2 laps down, I'm sorry.
Now, if you fans are wondering how far Harry Gant has pulled ahead of Bill Elliott while we were away on that commercial break, 46 seconds. Now, it's taking them a little over 32 seconds to go around the racetrack. Does he have enough time?
It's going to be tough. It is.
Because, again, his tires are going to get heated up as hard as he's driving right now. He has no choice but to run that thing as hard as it'll possibly go, and that's going to abuse those tires, so he won't get as much advantage per lap as he has been getting for the last 8 or 10 laps.
So let's check the interval now between Bill Elliott, the leader, and second place, Mark Martin.
The white car's Martin. Here he comes. 4.3 seconds.
4 seconds, yep.
There's Mark Martin running second. Alan Colwick is third. Davey Allison is fourth. Harry Gant is in 5th place.
Those are 5 cars on the lead lap. Lap down in 6th is Brett Bodine. Talk about the tire build-up very graphically there on the top of turn 4.
Yep.
And it's still the same, 4.3 seconds.
Look at Kowicki. We didn't see him off camera, but he's going awfully high down in the corner. Martin running the low groove. And both of them wiggling off the corner, and they've got another 31 laps to put up with that wiggle. At least Harry Gant's not wiggling.
No. He might catch those guys. If they keep wiggling. Now he's 5 seconds in front of Bill Elliott, so he's running a more than a half a second a lap faster than Bill Elliott. And how long can he continue to do that?
Watch Kowicki as he goes over. Watch this. He goes way up high. And once the car, he wiggled again.
He wiggled big time then. That was a big wiggle. And Dick Trickle was able to put himself ahead of Allen. There's Tim Brewer surveying the situation with his driver.
Wonder what he's saying. There's Steve Neal, Jack Roush.
Watching Mark Martin. And Junior Johnson, the leader of the Budweiser team, also looks on.
Turn around, Junior. I bet he's excited.
Oh, you bet.
I've never seen Junior excited in my life. The one with the white hair, that's Junior. Or is that Greg?
Silver.
Yeah.
There's the leader, Bill Elliott.
And we'll show you where Harry Gant is in relationship to Bill.
And away over there in turn 2.
There he is.
I don't know. Does Harry Gant need a caution flag to catch up, or is he better off this way? Those Fords are fast, awfully fast. And if the caution flag comes out, he's got 3 or 4 of them to race. And he would have to start basically behind all of them. If the pit stops went okay, he may be better off trying to run them down.
He's very close to taking over 4th place from Davey Allison. There's Elliott lapping the 30 Pennzoil car of Michael Waltrip.
Bill's car didn't wiggle too much.
There's Trickle, who is not in a battle for position with Mark Martin.
And let's see, Harry Gant. He went by Davey Allison, so he's
4th.
Up to 4th.
Boy, what a story this would be, huh? Ending Bill Elliott's win streak and doing it the way he has done it or is doing it. In any case, Elliott continues to hold on to the lead as Junior Johnson and others watch. We'll be back in a moment.
Gillette presents Sensor, the system, the technology that will change the way you shave forever. Sensor, twin blades set on springs to read your face and respond. Independent suspension to sense and adjust to every curve of your face. No other razor comes close. Gillette Sensor, for the best shave a man can get.
In the war against termites, nobody packs more power than the exterminator. The Orkin Man. And now his newest weapon makes him more powerful than ever. The exclusive Orkin Foam system. Orkin Foam reaches vulnerable areas more effectively than other methods. It penetrates more completely to stop termites cold. Guaranteed. And only the exterminator has it. The Orkin Man. One call destroys them all.
How to live like a mountain man. A true mountain man lives a solitary life, living for nothing more than an honest day's work and the rugged companionship of his fellow mountain men. It's a full-time job, but it does have its rewards, like smooth bush beer and easy drinking bush light. So, head for the mountains. Because once a mountain man has his mountains, what more could he possibly want?
We hope you're enjoying today's live coverage of the Trans-South 500 Winston Cup race from Darlington Raceway in South Carolina. We are just a little more than 20 laps from the end of this race. And our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil. By the more than 600 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the right parts at the right price. And by Budweiser, the king of beers with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud. 345 of 367. And Bill Elliott continues to lead. Mark Martin is in second, and Alan Kowicki was third, and Sterling Marlin is between the two.
Yeah, Sterling many laps down as a result of having been in the garage area for a long period of time early in the race. But Kowicki thought he was going to be able to get past Mark Martin because both of those cars are still doing a lot of wiggling, as you say, Benny, out there on the racetrack.
I tell you what, both those guys need some tires big time. They really are.
I think Harry Gant's going to run those two cars down and finish second if there's not a caution flag. Bill Elliott is the leader, and Harry Gant continues to pull away from him, but does he have enough time to
catch Elliott? No, I don't think he does.
I don't think he does.
Ramfield summary again.
And I got to get my hats off to Bill Elliott. Back earlier on when he made a run at Harry Gant, and I said he decided, hey, I can go by him, but I want to sit back here and save my tires. That was a very, very smart move. He has really saved that car right now. He's got something to make this last 20-lap run.
Gant, or rather Elliott, going for 4 in a row, and it's very possible that he would be going for 5 wins in a row were it not for that crash at Daytona that Elliott was involved in, yet was very competitive at the point of the crash. Black flag is being given to Sterling Marlin as came down the starter stand.
Looks like Kawicki had Martin that time, but Michael Waltrip decided to go in the pits and slow down in front of him and not able to make the pass. Kawicki's a little bit faster right now than Mark Martin, but he's having a lot of trouble getting by because his tires are just not that good.
Let's go to Jerry Punch for another report from pit road.
Bob, we're actually standing in the Bill Elliott pit, and beside me here is Tim Brewer. And Tim, you've been named Western Auto Mechanic of the Race. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Jerry. On behalf of the Budweiser racing team, all these guys in this pit area right here, they won that award. They just give it to me. You know, it's just one of those deals to where great bunch of people, you know, great people to work with, Junior, Bill, all the guys here. You know, it's hats off to them guys, not me.
Now, you're about 20 laps away from making it 4 in a row. It looks like possibly that Gant's not going to be able to have enough to catch it.
Well, you know, we don't count our chickens before they're hatched, but, you know, discarding bad luck, you know, it looks pretty good from right now, but, you know, the Budweiser having go forward, you know, it's been pretty good all day. Hopefully we can keep it under for a few more laps.
That's Tim Brewer, the crew chief for Bill Elliott.
And Bill Elliott continues to be the leader, but Alan Kulwicki has gone to second, putting Mark Martin back to third, and Kulwicki did it with a pass on the high side in the second corner. Allison now goes a lap down in 5th position. 4 cars now on the lead lap. It is Elliott, Kulwicki, Martin, and Harry Gant. We'll be back with the closing laps in a moment.
The time has finally come for the cordless power roller from Wagner. Now you control the flow of paint. So the Wagner Power Roller can cut jobs in half. Smoothly and evenly, it can cover areas twice as fast. And cleanup is a snap. So you can finish one job and do another. Get your hands on a real value, because the value of Wagner keeps on rolling.
You about finished? How's it going? Great. We have a lot of good mechanics that shop at AutoZone. Well, you also have a lot of people who just want to save some money by doing a simple job themselves, like changing their oil or putting in new plugs. They just want to come in, get what they need, and get out. Well, at AutoZone, we have parts for just about every car made. So if you know what you want, great. But if you're not quite sure about something, no problem. We'll help. After all, that's what we're here for.
Bill Elliott, continuing his streak, is leading the Winston Cup race here at Darlington, trying to make it 4 consecutive wins. And we're on lap 354. We're looking for second place. Bill has that much of an edge on Alan Kulwicki in car number 7. Running in 3rd position, having dropped back on the racetrack recently, is Mark Martin. There he is in the Valvoline Ford.
And boy, Harry Gant is
there. He is.
He's there.
There is Gant already. I mean, it's like Martin's car has just stopped, like it lost a cylinder or something.
And John Kernan has a report on Mark Martin's tires.
Talk about a guy hanging on for dear life. That certainly is Mark Martin right now. You can see moments ago as he came out of turn 4, that little wiggle that Benny and Ned and Bob have been talking about. His tires are basically gone down to the cords, and Harry Gant has gone around him. Mark is just hanging on, finish on the lead lap for a top 5 finish because he just radioed in and said, hey, the fronts are gone, the backs are going. It's a handful.
Well, he just lost 3rd position. And Harry Gant is a man on the move.
Yeah, he's moving up on Alan Kowicki, who is running in 2nd position. Well, Kowicki's on out front, these 2 cars right in front of him, but he's not too far behind him as he moves around Morgan Shepherd in the Citgo Ford.
You see Michael Walter there in the Pennzoil Pontiac. It looks like Michael has been in the pits in the last few laps and got some tires.
Boy, the front windshield of this Citgo Ford of Morgan Shepherd's is coated with oil. It'll be rather difficult with the sun glaring in on it. So Gant is now 3rd.
He's going to be 2nd just a little bit because Kowicki is directly in front of him.
10 laps to go.
Let's see how fast Mark Martin's going now with these worn-out tires. He's down to a...
Well, Alan Kowicki just blew, fellas, coming off of turn 4. A big puff of smoke on that car as he pulled to the inside. Harry Gant went around him. Gant's about 14.5 seconds behind Bill Elliott.
From Alan Kowicki. This be a caution? Is that spraying oil down on the racetrack?
No, I think so. He might be able to ride it out. Well, I don't know. It's really slowing down on him now. No, he's not going to ride that out.
Too bad, because Kowicki, who started way back in the pack in 25th position, had been in the top 10 and, in fact, in the top 5 most of the day, but his race ends about 8 laps short.
So Harry Gant has moved into 2nd spot, but I just don't think there's time to catch Bill Elliott.
No, he's not gaining much on him now, Benny.
Isn't he?
No, he's maybe a 1/10 of a second a lap or something like that, where he was gaining over a 1/2 a second a lap.
Kowicki's been black flagged by NASCAR, but I think that he's all done anyway.
Yep.
Well, if there are any bugs here at the racetrack, he'll get rid of
Clear
those.
the mosquitoes, hasn't it?
4 in a row.
And it continues Ford's winning streak, of course. And the last time that a Ford won here at Darlington was when Bill Elliott captured the Southern 500 in 1988. And the last Ford win at this particular race was when Elliott won in 1985.
Here it comes, lap 360 with 7 more to go. Bill Elliott, 4 in a row. You know, I just don't think anyone thought, Bill Elliott didn't think that he and Junior was going to hit it off like this.
Yeah, you knew it was going to be a strong combination of Junior and Tim and Bill, but I don't think anybody thought it was going to be this much of a combination.
I mean, this was impressive today. I mean, Bill used his head. We didn't hear from Bill Elliott for what, 300 miles?
Yep.
And all of a sudden, there he is.
And he's going to set a track record in the process, it appears, as we're almost 4 miles an hour above the track record. 139.1, the record 135.5. Now remember, America's Cup action coming up from San Diego at the conclusion of this race with Jim Kelly. Don't forget to join us for that. The baseball game tonight between the Cardinals and the Reds. We'll be back next Sunday with Winston Cup racing from Bristol International Raceway, where they have made some changes to the track. They've flattened out the corners, repaved the track, and it is super fast, I hear, in testing. Should be good.
Yeah, they flattened out the corner.
And they've taken the bowl out of it.
It's just as banked as much as ever, and it's faster than ever.
And that race starts at 12 o'clock this year. It's been 1 o'clock in the past, so it's 12 noon.
Oh, really? In Bristol? 12 noon. I'll have to get up early next week.
Yeah.
We'll be getting off the air fairly quickly after we talk to the winner of the race. We'll definitely do that for you. But as soon as that's complete, we'll be getting out to San Diego with the America's Cup competition. So we're going to show you a final field summary here so that you can get an indication of perhaps where your guy is going to finish, with only 3 cars now on the lead lap.
7th place car, Dick Trickle, 2 laps down. He, Bodine, Labonte, Earnhardt, all those cars. Kowicki still credited for 11th spot, 3 laps down. He is in the garage here with a blown engine.
3 laps to go, 364 circles complete.
I don't think we mentioned that Bobby Hamilton went out of the race a little while ago in the Country Town Oldsmobile, last year's Rookie of the Year winner. Bill Elliott, we're just cruising around.
Yeah, Harry Gant came up about a quarter of a lap, about 10 or 12 seconds short from a race, an exciting race for the.
We have 2 more laps to go now. That field summary gave you an indication of where they are right now in terms of standings, and that will probably be the final standings of this race. 1.5 laps to go for Bill Elliott. The Ford streak will go to 9 in a row. Not since Charlotte in the fall has Ford lost a Winston Cup race. Here's the white flag for Bill Elliott. 1 more lap to go.
How about since the North Wilkesboro race? Dale Earnhardt won, and then Ford did win the race at Charlotte.
Last lap for Elliott. Imagine that Budweiser crew. There's a race for position.
Yeah, the 26 car of Brett Bodine has.
No, I don't think that was for position. Bodine is a lap down.
You're right. Yeah, Brett is in 5th.
That's what I get for thinking.
Here comes Elliott off the corner. Checkered flag is waiting. There it is. Elliott wins his 4th consecutive Winston Cup race in 1992. Unbelievable. 4 in a row. Harry Gant has crossed the line. He'll finish in 2nd spot, and Mark Martin will bring home the Valvoline Ford in 3rd spot. And we'll be back to talk to Awesome Bill, who's won again, when we return to Darlington, South Carolina.
It was just another Saturday afternoon until those old guys came out of the woods with axes. Just when we thought it couldn't get any weirder, it did. They even brought their own music.
Awesome! Hey, fellas, how about a cold bud?
A bud? Obviously, we thought alike.
Oh, that's cold. It's one of the most technologically advanced, most rigorously tested fluids on Earth, relentlessly measured for maximum protection against the friction, the wear and tear, the heat and stress of today's engines. It is today's Quaker State. In Europe, in Japan, in America, Quaker State quality has passed the most demanding tests automakers can throw at it. At Quaker State, we don't just say we're tough, we're tested tough. The big Q is one tough motor oil.
Major League Baseball is in your face on ESPN with America's Game of the Week, Sunday Night Baseball, plus single games on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday nights, and a Friday night doubleheader. Got it! Opening day is April 6th as the Blue Jays meet the Tigers, the Giants battle the Dodgers, and the Mets take on the Cardinals. An opening day tripleheader, Monday, April 6th, live on ESPN.
The Trans-South 500 is over at Darlington, and the winner is Bill Elliott, who has pulled his Budweiser Ford into victory lane. He's getting the helmet off, and momentarily will be climbing out of the race car, and we'll be talking with him. Awesome Bill wins his 4th consecutive event of the 92 season. And this time, unlike the win at Atlanta, it was earned. Here's the Kodak Winner's Circle interview and Dr. Jerry Punch.
And as he climbs out of the car, gentlemen, you hear the crowd? Congratulations, Bill, 4 in a row.
I'll tell you what, you know, there at the first, you know, we're running along there, and we never could get everything just right. Car was a little bit loose, and behind other cars it'd be tight. So we tightened the car up, then their pit stops got me caught up there. Tim had a little bit of problem with a air gun one time. We got a little bit behind, and they got me caught back up. And right there at the end, we put a little bit of wedge in the car. That's all it took.
Were they telling you the interval with Harry Gant? I mean, he was coming in a hurry, but you had quite an advantage.
Well, you know, we knew he had a long way to go, and I was doing everything I could there at the end to save a car. I mean, it was just a perfect day. I mean, I don't know. We just keep doing everything right. I don't know what to say. I mean, they're making it easy for me. I'm just riding.
And he's smiling. And Awesome Bill has a brand new nickname for 1992. He is Mr. March. Bob?
Riding and smiling. Bill Elliott in victory lane once again. Congratulations to Bill with a great victory here this afternoon. And we'll be back in just a moment to wrap things up and get things settled down as Bill Elliott visits victory lane once again in 1992. Back after this.
It is from Kodak. It delivers the highest resolution, microfine grain, superior image structure for ultra-sharp detail. It is called Ektar. Ektar film by Kodak. The genius is in the details. Ektar film now comes in a new cartonless package in 25, 100, and 1,000 speeds.
Think about who you'll be driving around over the next, say, 7 days. That's how long your dealer said it would take before he could fix your brakes. At Midas, we think that's exactly 7 days too long. Because our experts can fix them right the very same day you bring in your car. And that's something to think about today. Midas, because your brakes can't wait.
I'd like to make a simple point about a gasoline additive called ProGuard. You see, without proper care, even new car engines accumulate deposits that can lead to a rough-running engine. Fortunately, there's a ProGuard. Added to a single tank full of gasoline, ProGuard's patented Tecon chemistry begins cleaning deposits not only from fuel injectors, but throughout your engine's intake system for a noticeably smoother performance. ProGuard, for a smoother running engine.
He's Stock Car Racing's all-time winner. He's Stock Car Racing's all-time most popular driver. He's the King, Richard Petty. In this new ESPN home video, The Ride of a Lifetime, Richard Petty and STP, you'll have the chance to come along with me, Dr. Jerry Punch, for a personal visit to Richard's home, and we'll show you classic video footage of Richard's greatest moments. To get your copy, call 1-800-342-3400.
Victory lane being occupied here at Darlington Raceway by Bill Elliott, who has won the Trans-South 500, beating Harry Gant, who finished in second position, tried very hard to close in and win the race, but Harry ended up second. Mark Martin finished in third. A lap down in fourth was Davey Allison, and Ricky Rudd came back to finish in fifth spot. Sixth, Brett Bodine, then Dick Trickle, Jeff Bodine, Terry Labonte, and Dale Earnhardt finishes in 10th position. Then 11th was Rusty Wallace. Ken Schrader was 12th. Morgan Shepherd, Michael Waltrip 14th, and Ted Musgrave with another good run. He finishes in 15th position here in the Trans-South 500. Derry Cope was 16th, followed by Rick Mast. Bob Schacht was 18th. Jimmy Means 19th, and Dale Jarrett, despite some transmission problems, finished in 20th position. Continuing to run down the final standings, Sterling Marlin finished in 22nd spot. Bobby Hamilton 23rd. Alan Kulwicki had a blown engine in late going, was down to 24th, and Dave Marcus finished in 25th spot. Ernie Irvin, Kyle Petty, Greg Sachs, Hut Strickland, Wally Dallenbach 26 through 30, and then the final five finishing here in the Trans-South 500 today. Well, don't forget, we'll continue with our Winston Cup coverage next Sunday afternoon as we bring you the Food City 500 live at 12 o'clock. Now, from horsepower to wind power, we go to San Diego. Jim Kelly has America's Cup Racing. Jim, take it away.
Our ESPN sailing team welcomes you back live to the waters of the Pacific. Yesterday, for Dennis Conner and Stars and Stripes, a huge upset against Bill Koch's fourth-generation boat, Kansas. Stars and Stripes, the men in blue, won by 2 minutes and 27 seconds. The technical protest disallowed last night. Stars and Stripes earning one more valuable point. The standings as of right now. Stars and Stripes tied for the top spot with Kansas. Kansas inherited America Cubed A3, the third generation boat. They're 2 points from the third Defenders round robin. The challengers today, we've got two terrific matchups for you. Chris Dixon and Nippon up against the Kiwis with Rod Davis. That race underway. Likewise, Marc Pajot in France against Paul Cayard and El Moro and the Italian. And just a couple of seconds ago in that matchup, Italy rounded the first mark. They were 1 minute in front over France and Marc Pajot. And going off first in 5 to 6 knots of wind as we're looking at Paul Cayard, it was Nippon and New Zealand. And as we say hello to Gary Jobson again, New Zealand, they were ahead by 52 seconds around the first mark.
Jim, the race was delayed by about 40 minutes to get off the line. But once they started racing, we saw two very different boats. New Zealand, which had lost to Nippon in the last round robin, established a big lead and are winning by about 8 boat lengths as they head downwind. And Paul Cayard, who we're looking at right now, enjoys about a 7 or 8 boat length lead over the French. So clearly, this boat, Italy, which has not performed well in light wind, is going much faster today.
Terrific onboard pictures once again. We are live out in the Pacific. The breeze is blowing 5 to 6 knots right now. It's a westerly wind, Gary, and the breeze a lot lighter than it was yesterday in Stars and Stripes kind of conditions. And one thing we should point out to our audience as they're joining us, and if they're joining us for the first time, is that a minute lead, Italy over France, is not very much in these winds. How come?
Well, in these wind conditions, you're not very far apart. It doesn't take long to sail 1 minute. They're about 5 boat lengths apart. And with the wind phasing, coming and going, stronger amounts, lesser amounts, you can easily make up this difference as the boats are sailing downwind under spinnakers here.
Let's check the race conditions right now. Again, the winds are westerly, the Chrysler race conditions. 7 to 9 was the forecast, but right now they're 5 to 6, and the speeds are just under 2 feet. So again, a 52-second lead. Italy on top over France around the first mark, not very much. And likewise, New Zealand leading Nippon by about 55 seconds or so. Gary, that's not a big lead in either race.
It's not a big lead, and anything can happen here. And one of the big differences today, Jim, is the smoothness of the water. This smooth water, I think, is to the advantage of the New Zealand boat, and I also think the French boat. The Italians seem to have gone well in heavier seas and stronger wind in the past. So the French should be able to take advantage of this, and then so far they haven't been able to. As we look on board here at Marc Pajot steering Ville de Paris.
This boat sponsored in part by the city of Paris, and they were so encouraged after the last Challenger round robin came to a conclusion that a few more $1 million or francs came the way of this syndicate, eh?
And they're going quite fast. And one of the big edges this team has is their sail inventory. All the teams here have been telling me for weeks that the French have the best sail inventory, and it's a big reason why they made it into the semifinals.
So from the France matchup against Italy, there is Paul Cayard, his boat in front. You can see France in the background trailing. We'll swing over to the other course. Action all over the Pacific. And again, it's all live, all of these pictures on board from overhead in the helicopters as we were watching the two semifinalists here, Nippon against New Zealand. And what about this Bruce Farr designed sled of the Kiwis? I mean, these kinds of conditions definitely favor Michael Fay's fourth boat.
Well, the New Zealand boat really is fast and light winds as the team heads for the second mark, the leeward mark. Here's the New Zealand team preparing to put the headsail up. That's the forward sail called the Genoa jib. They'll be taking the red sail, the spinnaker down, pulling a jib up, and making a turn about 135 degrees to go back upwind. There's the Japanese boat, Nippon, which is now about, I'd say 7 or 8 boat lengths behind. And the boats have been fairly even, Jim, heading downwind on this leg. And interestingly, they both are flying red spinnakers, which is a little bit confusing from there, but there's a difference.
A little trivia item for you as you look at Michael Fay's red boat, the sled there, designed by Bruce Farr out of Annapolis, Maryland. A red boat has never, ever won the America's Cup. And we have 2 in the Challenger semifinals, the red boat from New Zealand and the red boat from Italy. Around the second mark. Let's see if we can listen in.
Dixon,
was a former crew member telling Rod Davis that the boat was clear to tack and make a maneuver should Chris Dixon on the pond make a maneuver right after rounding the mark. It was a nice job.
So the Citizen timer has Nippon trailing by 37 seconds around that second mark. They sliced the margin almost in half on the second leg of this new 8-leg America's Cup course. Brand new boats, of course.
Here goes Chris Dixon, the white boat Nippon, tacking immediately to get clear of Rod Davis's wind. And Davis, the red boat, tacks the cover. Classic match racing moves. Stay between your opponent and the wind to try and slow him down, blocking his wind, and that's what we have here.
37 seconds, the Kiwis out in front over Chris Dixon and Nippon. Meanwhile, Italy on top by almost a minute over France. Action all over the Pacific. It's live. It's the Louis Vuitton Cup, the Challengers. Today, the Defenders resume on Tuesday. ESPN's exclusive coverage of America's Cup 92. Today's Challengers semifinal live action is being brought to you by Cadillac and your local Cadillac dealer. By Bud Dry, brewed so it drinks light, yet satisfies completely. And by Citizen Watch Company, official timer of the America's Cup.
The average American mother has 2.3 kids. One pet lifts 630 pounds, runs 17 errands, and spends 1.5 hours a day in a motor vehicle. Right now, your Chrysler Plymouth dealers are offering Plymouth Voyager with a family value package for under $14,900. For those who understand that every day is Mother's Day. Real advantages for the real world at your Chrysler Plymouth dealer today.
A Yamaha water vehicle is the most exciting ride on water for A, solo riders, B, pairs, C, trios, or D, all of the above. The answer, of course, is all of the above.
See the full line of water vehicles at Casey Cycle City on J. Clyde Morris Boulevard in Newport News.
Pictures again from the Pacific. We've got Challenger semifinal action going on today. Italy against France. The Italians leading by about a minute. Nippon now trailing New Zealand by just 37 seconds around that second mark. But as we say hello again, yesterday that was a monstrous upset. Stars and Stripe against Bill Koch's fourth-generation boat Kansas. And there were some mild complications, like at the very beginning of the race. Well, there was a 15-minute delay granted Stars and Stripes. Dennis had some problems with his mainsail. So the race committee said, okay, go ahead and fix your mainsail, then we'll get the race underway. And what happened? A 2-minute, 20-second win for Stars and Stripes. But the red protest flag, the technical protest flag, was flown somewhat frivolously, we thought here, by the America Cube Brain Trust. Gary will update us now. Let's go back about 24 hours or so, because it really was kind of interesting last night. Everybody was very sensitive about it, except the boys from Stars and Stripes. I asked Tom Whitten. He walked up in the protest room. He said, we're not worried at all, Jim. Here's Gary.
The first race of the Defender semifinal began with controversy. It was an equipment problem that caused the initial delay. The judge came on board and granted a 15-minute postponement. Meanwhile, the crew at Kansas was wondering what was going on. It was at this point, prior to the start, that they decided to race under protest. Dennis Conner, the master of time and distance, nailed the start. The protest flag flew from the stern of the Cuban boat in hopes of being granted redress. Dennis Conner led the entire race and finished almost 2.5 minutes ahead of Kansas. Stars and Stripes found some new speed in a reconfigured boat. At a hearing following the race, the jury disallowed the protest. The results would stand. Conner and America Cube are now even at 2-all.
Dennis Conner, congratulations. The first race of the semifinals, and there you are. Hey, Peter, it was a big one, not only for the guys, but for all our sponsors that stood by us here when going was tough. And hope we can deliver 3 more for everybody. It seemed like Stars and Stripes was going faster on that first beat. What happened there?
Well, we were in phase. There was a big starboard shift right off the line. That's why we fought for the right-hand side of the line there. And then once we were in phase, the wind went back to the left. We got a 5 or 6 boat length jumped on him and then never let him up after that.
Elation as expected for the boys from Stars and Stripes, and cause for concern in the Coke camp. They now have lost 3 in a row to Stars and Stripes. First A3, then Defiant, now the new boat Kansas. What about the protest? A lot of sailors said, hey, that was a little silly.
I thought it was a frivolous protest, Jim. After all, what you want here is a really good competitive defense trials, and you can't do that if one boat's out of the race. I think Bill Koch protesting a 15-minute delay to allow a race is wrong, because on Tuesday's race it could be America Cube or Kansas asking for a delay. So I think it's a protest that should not have happened.
Why all the elation for Stars and Stripes? Well, the Defenders format after 3 round robins, it was A3 on top. They earned 2 points. Stars and Stripes, after they fixed their mast, 30 hours, back-to-back upsets over A3, the first time in 7 tries, then Defiant. They dusted them off. They earned 2nd place and 1 bonus point to start the 4th round robin. That's why it was so crucial. So as Koch tries to drive a nail into the Connor coffin and eliminate him, so it's all Koch in the Defenders final. Each semifinal win worth 1 point. The top 2 boats only advance. That means, of course, that Bill Koch is assured of at least 1 spot. He wants to keep Connor out, but Dennis tied for the lead with Kansas. They again inherited A3's 2 points. A3, incredibly, with a record of 12-2, starts out this 4th and final round robin, the Defenders semifinals, with no points. So that's pretty much the story as far as the Defenders until Tuesday, when we join you with Defenders Live Racing. But on to the Challengers. Defenders, the Louis Vuitton Series. El Moro, again, Gary, they were ahead by 1 minute around the first mark in their matchup against France.
The French boat has been particularly fast when sailing downwind with these spinnakers up. You can see the blue balloon-like sail of the French boat, and they seem to be coming on a little bit here. The object of the French right now is to try and get to the wind and block the Italian wind, and they're very close, and you can see some concern as you look at Paul Kayard, the man holding the round wheel, as he steers the boat.
Looking at that beautiful blue boat from France, you know something about their first boat, because A3 actually bought the Scud for a while to use as a trial horse.
That's an interesting name, calling it the Scud, because it was slow and unreliable, but it was a good benchmark, and it helped the French, and it helped Bill Koch's team out too. And I noticed the French, you look up forward on the crew there's a number of people running around. They're getting ready to set the new sail, the Genoa jib, for the next turn into mark. And when they make these mark roundings, Jim, there's 16 crew aboard the boat. Everybody has a specific job, and you have a major course change going from with the wind, sailing up into the wind, and everybody has a job to do during this turn.
While they're on this leg, Gary Jobson, we have just been told that there's a 15-degree wind shift to the right now. Translate that for some of the neophytes.
Well, that certainly sounds technical, but what it means here is the wind is shifted in direction, and because of that change in wind direction, the boats are sailing a more direct course to the 2nd mark. The trailing boat would rather not have the wind shift. The leading boat would like the wind shift because it shortens up the leg and makes the time a little bit less. When they make these turns, everything is done in sequence. Everybody has a specific job to make the turn, and if you do a good job, you can make a lot of gain. But the French boat in particular, through the early round robins, Jim, has had a lot of problems and lost several races.
Paul Kayard, the skipper, his father is French. He lived in San Francisco, sailed with Tom Blackaller, 32 years young, America's Cup veteran with Blackie back in '87 aboard the then radical boat USA. You know, I think had they had a little bit more money and a little bit more time to learn how to sail that boat, they might have been a factor.
Well, I think Tom Blackaller and Paul Kayard were very close and almost defeated Dennis Connor, and now Paul gets his own shot here sailing the Italian boat. This French boat's sailing quite well as you see it going through the water, and if anybody watched yesterday, you'll remember how rough the seas were when we were down low like this. Today the seas are much calmer for the sailing. Jim, if you'll notice, you look at the picture, you can see way in the background, just to the left of the blue spinnaker France, is Nippon and New Zealand. And these 2 boats sailing in a 2nd pair will learn what happened with the wind by looking at the first pair. So while they're concentrating on their own race, they study the leaders to see what else is happening. The spinnaker coming down now on the Italian boat on the right.
That's a good point, Gary, as far as keeping an eye on the other race, because the way that the Challenger semifinals is structured, I mean, not only do you have to be concerned about your opponent that day, but you have to be concerned about your opponents the next couple of days and how they're doing as far as the point totals. Again, only 2 of the 4 advance. This is the Challenger version of their Final 4. Citizen Delta as Italy rounds in front. France will follow. Let's see if the French were able to slice any of that 1-minute Italy advantage off on this leg.
Well, the French boat, as I mentioned earlier, has been very fast on the downwind legs. She looked to be moving quite well, and as we see here, she has made up some of the time, cutting more than half the distance off. So that is quite a significant gain by this boat.
Interesting that both of the trailing boats then, Nippon and France, were able to cut the margin almost in half.
That trailing motorboat, by the way, is an umpire boat that will watch and see if there's any rules infractions as the French make attack, rounding the mark to get clear of their wind.
In the back of the boat, longtime trusted ally Marc Bouet is also there, and Bertrand Passe, 37 seconds. They are behind right now. Passe, a veteran of match racing. Gary, you sailed against Bertrand.
Bertrand Passe is terrific. I've raced against him in the Liberty Cup regatta in New York Harbor 3 times. He's very tough, feisty, and he always does a good job. You can always count on him being in the top 3 boats in any regatta. Italy on the left and at the top of the screen now enjoying about a 5-boat length lead over France. France looking to use boat speed to try and get out from under the grasp of the Italian boat right now. And they have 2 choices, 1 to go for boat speed or 2 to try attacking duel, making maneuvers. So far they're trying boat speed to see if they can catch up.
Paul Cayard, the skipper of the El Moro campaign, formed about 3 years ago, had to learn Italian, of course, to be effective. Let's take a closer look at the syndicate.
Named after a Shakespearean character from Othello, the Moor of Venice, Il Moro di Venezia represents the epitome of a superpower. Their fleet of 5 boats, built over the course of the 26-month campaign, is the largest in San Diego. In March of 1990, the canals of Venice were host to their first launching. This project was conceived by an unlikely pair, multimillionaire Raul Gardini and a 31-year-old sailor from San Francisco.
Raul's the same age as my father, so there's a similar relationship. It started out on a rather formal basis. Somehow I think we grew also to like each other. For me, I'm a professional sailor, so what I'm interested in is getting my boat, my team out on the starting line and having the best chance to win the race.
Previous Italian Cup campaigns had more flash than substance. In '87, it was the Aga Khan's Azzurra, along with Italia. The Gucci boys of Fremantle finished 11th and 7th, respectively. Meanwhile, Paul Cayard was competing in his second Cup campaign, serving as tactician alongside the late Tom Blackaller aboard USA. For '92, Cayard the sailor is now the boss of a massive effort that includes its own high-tech building facility, Tenkara, where the fleet of Il Moros were constructed. This team was busy designing and building months before Dennis Conner even conceived his campaign. Boat 3 was flown to San Diego in time for the World Championships, and while most teams were still sailing their first-generation boats, this team's head start paid off as Il Moro 3 won the World Championships in San Diego, outsailing New Zealand in the match race final. Gardini was pleased with his team's early success, but in August he was ousted from the family business, getting a huge chunk of cash but losing control of team sponsor Mont Edison. Layoffs and a budget cut were forthcoming in San Diego, but Cayard said it was a healthy pruning of excess baggage. As the trials began, Il Moro won 5 of 7 races. Their loss to the French was exciting, the margin never more than a few boat lengths. In round 2, the Italians avenged that first-round loss, coming from behind on the last leg to beat the French by 2 boat lengths. But a few key losses signaled that the Italians were no longer a dominating force. By round 3, it appeared that Il Moro had actually slowed down. Sporting new black carbon fiber sails, they were clearly off the pace against the Kiwis. Il Moro just couldn't keep up, losing by a whopping 5 minutes. No longer invincible, Cayard remains confident.
This event is going to be the best America's Cup ever because of the competition. You've got more of the top sailors in the world with their own program out there on the starting line, and it's going to be a tough America's Cup to win, and the guy who wins it is definitely going to have beaten the best.
The El Moro campaign has built 5 boats, including 2 identical test hulls. A 2-year testing and training program, Gary, has created the most comprehensive database on hulls and rigs and sails of any of the challengers, with the possible exception of the Japanese. What do you think?
Well, I think the Italians have done a really nice job here, and it's been interesting that they went to an Argentinian to design the boat, and Americans to skipper the boat and be a navigator, and Frenchmen to coach. So they've really taken a global look at this America's Cup to get the best talent together, and today it seems to be paying off. They lost to the French before, and now they're clearly ahead in this tacking duel as the French go behind Italy right now.
Let's take a look at our race summary then. Italy up against France. Marc Pagio won the start by 5 seconds, but the Italians came back and led around the first mark by exactly 1 minute. At the second mark, France cut that margin almost in half, only 26 seconds. When we come back, we'll pick it up again with Italy and France. Also, don't forget, we're covering New Zealand and Japan. Action live from the Pacific, the Louis Vuitton Elimination Series.
The sails aren't made of canvas anymore. The decks have never tasted varnish. And it takes more than a ship's bell to count time. But as long as the sea is salty and the wind blows hard, the sailor can never be replaced. The Citizen Watch Company salutes all those competing for the America's Cup. Citizen, official timer of the America's Cup.
Chrysler Fifth Avenue at $22,000, the perfect balance between self-indulgence and common sense.
Now get $1,500 cash back during Chrysler's Drive for the Gold.
Why not have one for the road? Someone is counting on you. It could be your year for Lotto. You haven't seen Europe yet. In fact, you never know what's around the corner. If you need a better answer, you don't understand the question. A message from Bud Grine.
Back live, the man in the upper left of the screen with his sunglasses and his Kiwi cap is Rod Davis, ex-U.S. Olympian. He, of course, was the skipper for Eagle, one of the 6 U.S. syndicates that went down to Fremantle, Western Australia, back in '86-'87 to try to bring the Cup back. Eagle was a woefully underfinanced project. Not Rod Davis's fault, of course. They had maybe the prettiest boat, though, didn't they, Gary?
Well, they had a great Eagle extending from the side of the boat all the way down and alongside the keel. Here, New Zealand has just completed a tack, staying between the wind and the pond, the white boat that we just saw a moment ago. And you'll notice, Jim, that this New Zealand boat is a little different than some of the others because she carries a bowsprit. That's a little extension in front of the boat to try and fly the spinnaker when they go downwind a little bit easier. Grant Lawrence, one of the sail trimmers, doing his work now, trying to get a lot of speed out of the boat, making a lot of adjustments. You can feel the tension on that line, that rope that he has as he eases it out. There's probably about 4,000 pounds of pressure on that rope, which is a combination of wire and Kevlar.
And that Pinocchio-like appendage that was on the left-hand side of your screen, the bowsprit. Another Kiwi controversy. Michael Fay prefers to call it innovation.
You might notice that there's 2 wheels here, Jim, one on either side of the boat, and that's so the helmsman, Rod Davis, sitting there steering right now, can get close to the side and see both sails working together and watch the angle of the heel and the wind coming across the water. Of course, you can't see the wind, but you can see what the wind does to the water, and it makes dark patches in the windier spots, light patches in the less wind spots.
Well, let's take a look at the third leg of this new 8-leg America's Cup course.
Well, the boats are on the third leg now, working back to windward. This leg is about 2.6 miles in length and takes an average of about 20 minutes to go from the third mark up to the top of the screen. Davis talking with David Barnes on the right. He's the man that's just wiping his nose off there on the right of your screen. Davis and Barnes have been together for quite a long time, dating back to 1987 when they started the match race circuit.
Of course, David Barnes was at the helm of the big boat up against the Mosquito, the aircraft carrier, against the Catamaran, if you will, back in '88. Kiwis' expectations extremely high. Michael Fay coming and calling for a third time. Rod Davis, well, I think that you have to give an awful lot of credit to this man because he survived a real tough elimination series that the Kiwis had almost an intramural scrimmage. Russell Coots, young rock star. But the Kiwis are really all for one for all, pulling together. And Michael Fay ended up selecting Rod Davis, and he thinks he made the right